Media, call it the Midas touch, and you wouldn't be wrong. Let us record, produce, mix, and master your audio like nobody does. Reach us on our contact today for the best quality job. We've got just what you need right here at Femi Wash Media. Call it the Midas touch, and you wouldn't be wrong. Let us record, produce, mix, and master your audio like nobody does. Reach us on our contact today for the best quality job.
From Dubai to Lagos, Nigeria, and across the globe, SOUQ News TV is your #1 station focusing on business, economy, and development. With global digital reach, we connect Africa's pulse to the world stage. Welcome to SOUQ News Television, and here we go beyond the headlines. From breaking news, in-depth conversational programs, to market analysis and indices. From policies affecting growth to unique documentaries, from live event coverage to bespoke productions, we deliver content that connects you to the world. At SOUQ News Television, we provide news surrounding business, economy, and development, infomercials and jingles that stand out, short and long-form documentaries crafted to international standards, independent production spaces with full technical support, special coverage for individual and corporate events, a special form of documentaries through our prestige package, Immortals, where we tell your story the way you'd love it, and business support services tailored for small enterprises. SOUQ News TV, powered by Femi Wash Limited, also home to the Isle 95.9 FM Lagos and Kasua 99.7 FM Kano, and Emirate News Television Abuja, together forming Africa's trusted media powerhouse. Storytelling, coverage, and connection that matters. SOUQ News TV, your home for business, economy, and development.
I was born on the 16th day of October, 63 years ago. I'm from Opobo, yeah, and went to school. I'm from River State, from Opobo in River State. Went to school in Port Harcourt, lived in Port Harcourt all my life, from primary to secondary school to A-levels. Then after A-levels, I got admission to Unilag. Immediately after Unilag, I got married. And I've lived in Lagos ever since. Well, it was fun for us because me and my husband were very young. My husband was 25, I was 21 and all that. But we learned on the job. We were friends. We were friends for 3 years when I was in Unilag, university, and we came out to got married. So we're like children that just got married. But I had my parents. My parents were his very good friends. So when I get naughty, he would report me to my parents. When I didn't know these kind of duties were demands of somebody's wife, they would tell me this is my responsibility. I'm like, nope. I will agree to some, I will not agree to some. But I mean, it was fun. We had our ups and downs, but kind of pushed through it. And then the children started coming, and it was a different ballgame. You know, when you come from that kind of family, it's like part of your system. You don't really regard it as anything anymore. But sometimes I get the shock of my life because there was a time my in-laws came to Opobo for one ceremony, and I saw the king. And he gave me a hug and he gave me a pic, and they were like, whoa, the upper Benin won't even shake your hands, you know, as a woman. I'm like, okay. I mean, it's the same family, you understand? So we're used to that. I think we take it for granted. But maybe some other people say you must call me a princess, you must call me that. I'm not into all those kind of things. I'm not at all. I've never been. So I can't start tomorrow. But great King Jaja of Opobo, my great-great-grandfather. And my children, when they studied it in school, they went to Corona school. When they studied, Mom, we're telling our teacher and our classmates that this King Jaja of Opobo, they taught them about King Jaja of Opobo in school. And they said, that's my mommy's great-grandfather. Like, whoa, no, it was like a big deal to them. For us, Absolutely, upbringing and my personal choice too, because you could be brought up one way and choose to go another way. You understand? One of my philosophies in life is like this: you're not the tallest in the world, you're not the shortest, you're not the prettiest, you're not the ugliest, you're not the richest, you're not the poorest. Get with it. Do you understand? If you're looking for beauty, there are more beautiful women than you. So if you're looking for ugly, there are uglier women. If you're looking for tall, you're looking for it. So what is it? Do you understand? You didn't come into this world with anything. You're not going to go with anything. So just be grateful to God for whatever you have or whatever you are. Work towards improving on it, improving your relationship with God Almighty and improving your relationship with your fellow human beings. That's my philosophy in life. So what's the point of carrying all the air and chips on your shoulder? It makes life heavier for you. Seven is my favorite number. It's a number for perfection, and I was born on the 16th of October. My star sign is Libra. We're always looking for perfect balance in everything. It's just an influence from the horoscopes, I'm told. But J is my husband's name, D is my name, and 7 is my favorite number. Lazy way of forming the name of a company, isn't it? So I did, and it stuck. And I knew I was going to go into couture, so that was it. Easy. I was a victim of circumstances. I keep saying it. I didn't really come into business to be a fashion designer, to go into fashion, and creativity has always been something that's innate. Okay, even before I started making clothes or doing this, I used to always give designers the styles that I want them to make for me. I didn't have tailors. But when I finished my NYSC at Nigerian Television Authority in Victoria Island, I decided I wasn't going to work there. I wanted to work in a more organized setup. You understand? Because of management traineeship, because I never worked all my life. My parents were very protective. I'm the last girl in the family. They were always very protective. So I said I wanted to work somewhere, and I prayed about it. And I got into Unilever. Then it was called Lever Brothers. And for 5 years, but the intensity of work there became a bit much for me because I was a young mother. I had 2 kids then. Was going on having the 3rd one, so it became a bit time. Sometimes Unilever was one of the biggest. When the international directors come in, we used to be the ones to host them with all the Unilever affiliates. Linters, the advertising agency used to be all the Nigerian breweries, USC, you understand, AJC, we're all Unilever group. Sometimes I won't get home until 3 a.m. when we're hosting, and with kids in the house, it can be a bit much. So I prayed about it and I decided something has to give. It's either your family, your children you will not give them the attention they need then, and they were growing fast, or your job will suffer, and then you will not be happy whichever way. So I decided, you know what, let my priority be my family, and I decided to go back. And I put in my resignation. That was not what I'm fine. When I did, my chairman refused to accept the resignation. So I had to use another way to encourage him to accept it. So I left Unilever. I said, okay, I wasn't the type of person that was suited for being a housewife. I wanted to do the kind of business I would do, but still have 100% time for the kids. So when the kids said, they're having something in school, I'm there, okay? I decided I was going to just market corporate gifts. when I was in Unilever, I was the assistant corporate affairs manager in charge of press. So, and being in Unilever at the corporate affairs level, I already knew a lot of companies. So I used that opportunity to get back to those companies and introduce my new business. And in the first year, I actually made more money than my 5-year stint in Unilever. So that was the normal encouragement. You make more money doing your own business. You have more time for your kids, for your family, and for yourself. And you travel quite a bit because you have to go and buy the corporate gift. So it was a win-win. Then, a few years down the line, the president, Olusegun Obasanjo, came in and said they were doing backward integration and they were going to stop the importation of all this corporate gift and a lot of other things. So we were actually forced to look inwards. And when we started looking inwards, that's when it hit me that apart from Big, that was being produced by Eleganza, we're not really manufacturing anything in Nigeria apart from textiles and maybe I think Eleganza was doing food flask or something. Which corporate body do you want to give as end of year gift? So what we had to do now, because a lot of my clientele were like Shell, Chevron, I started looking inwards. I said, okay, if I have to do something, I can do beddings, pillowcase trimmings, table covers, table placemat, napkins with fabrics like Ashok and Adira. I can do jute bags, you know. It came to me. So I had to go and buy one machine and employed one tailor. So sometimes they will call me. I did some samples. So when, even in Abuja, when they were going to have, like I remember the West African Women's Affairs, they had a conference. So they wanted jute bags, and we had about 1,000 or 2,000 jute bags, and that was quite nice. Plus, apart from the end of year activities, so that's it. But you know, after those periods, you have periods of lull, like you're not using the machine and the tailor. You have to be paying tailor for doing it. I'm like, why am I going to these people to make my clothes? Tailor, oh yeah. This is the style I want. I started first by giving some of my clothes, repeat it. You did well. So I started designing. I could sketch very well. I was a science student in school, but I could sketch really well. So I was sketching, would do well. And sometimes when I wear the clothes and I go to supermarket, some women will just call me, hey, I really like this thing you're wearing. Please, where did you make it? I'm like, okay, I'll give you the address. I give them the address. They started coming. Before I could say that, within 1 month, I had over 50 women I had to make clothes for. And the one tailor was no longer enough. I had to employ 2 others. That was how we started. From 2 to 4, then I had a whole factory before you could see that. I started making school uniforms, started doing all kinds of things. And then some of the magazines, like Genevieve magazine, looked at me and like, are you sure you make this outfit? I thought you were a broadcaster. I thought you sell. I said, yes, I did. So I did some photo shoot session for her, and I modeled the clothes actually. And whoa, I started getting calls from Paris, from the UK. I did DC Fashion Week, you know. I was just, and they will pay your ticket, pay your hotel, please come and showcase for us. Some will even say, please come and open the show for us. Some say, we want you to close this. I'm like, okay. There are places that I would never have thought of going to, like Burkina Faso. They will back me the top fashion designers there when the Alfadi does this thing once every 4 years. Alfadi in Niger. The Niger government sponsors it. He calls all, including Elisab, every international designer, they will go, especially the Moroccan ones, those North African ones, Indians. So they invite one designer from each country. So they used to call me to come because of what I used to work a lot with Ankara and Ashok, and I do international acclaimed, how would I put it, couture outfits with Ankara, big hats, funny looking, structured clothes and all that. So that was how it went, you know. And I did all the magazines. I've won all the awards. So after a while, I started thinking of concentrating on exports. In the process of doing that, my husband took ill. After 2 years, we lost him. So when I came back home, I gave a lot of things a lot of thought. My kids were still in school. My daughter got married. She was in Australia already. And then my kids, my two boys were still in school. So I said, look, this fashion design group is not going to pay school fees in pounds sterling and dollars. So I said to myself, you know what? Why don't you give the man hours to the industry, the family business that were yielding the most income? That was how I started kind of just saying, you know what, let me just minimize it a bit. My core clients were still coming. So I kept the tailors, my experienced tailors that worked with for years. I kept few of them. And I kind of cut down on that business. I said, you know what, let me just go and face the family business and do this for the people who really know what I'm doing. And word of mouth goes. So I'm still doing that, but my priority is really not that, When you look at me the first time you see me, you see a fragile woman that don't like to sweat, that is spoiled, that like to be kept. I'm like, what? Absolutely not. My husband didn't want me to do anything. He just felt he wanted to spoil me. I said, that's not how to love me at all. Please. It's either you kind of understand the person I am. I'm a very creative mind. This mind has to keep working, or I'll make life miserable for you, What I will advise, even women who are willing to work, you don't even do one job. You must get at least more than 2 streams of income. Otherwise, you will not make ends meet. That is the truth of today's world. You understand? Then those ones that want to be kept, no matter how wealthy your husband is, wealth is not static. Some people start today. When they retire, everything goes downhill. Some people mean well, they love you, they want to take care of you, but nature calls. They part ways. Some marry other women, some leave, some die. You understand? So anything can happen. I will advise them, everybody, try to be as independent as you can. Financially independent. I think you actually earn more respect when you do that. And then also, when things don't work out too well for the husband, no matter how rich you are, you don't have to put him through too much stress. You can take care of yourself, you take care of him, you encourage him, but let him not feel that the world has come to an end. A man feels happy when he knows that his back is covered, even when he's not making it. You understand? It doesn't make him lazy. It makes him very grateful. Yeah. So I will advise everybody, get something doing. Do something that will enable you earn good income if you can. Do something that you also enjoy doing. I've always believed in garbage in, garbage out. Yeah? Garbage in is the stress abound. You cannot control that. But you can control your attitude towards stress. Stress is the #1 killer and ages of everything in this world. It's your attitude to stress that you have to manage, and that depends on you. What you put in your mouth also depends on you. Your mind, your heart, your spirit, your soul. You have to be loving. You have to be forgiving. You understand? All that depends on you. So it's actually you that decides whether you're going to age gracefully or you're not. Forget about the genes first. It's true. You understand? Some people are so malicious. When you offend them once, oh my goodness. They will carry it in their chest, and the chest will be expanding, and they won't sleep well, and they begin to have problems. Meanwhile, the person you're angry with does not even know you exist. It's crazy. So for me, it's just be free. and take life easy. Take it as it comes. And always be grateful to God. I'm too honest and straightforward. It's either I will be killed immediately, or because I will tell you the truth, no matter whose house is God. I don't think I can play politics. I'm not a politician at all. I am a very straight shooter. I will tell you to your face when you're doing stupid things. That was my relationship with my mom, my dad, my husband. So most times, I'm the last girl in the house, so maybe when they were disciplining the first ones, by the time they got to my turn, they were a bit tired. So we could talk to my parents anyhow. But I don't do it to create whatever. I just feel that if anybody worth talking to, is worth talking to with honesty and integrity. And when you want to play politics, they will see something that is black. They will say it's yellow. I can't do that. For the love of me, I can't. So politics is not my call. And because of that, they will not allow your creativity to come out, your sincerity. What's the point? Yes. I'm actually planning some kind of, I met some of my old models that are doing very well. And you know, when you deal with a lot of these girls, some of them have traveled with me to Niger. Sometimes they'll tell you, bring 2 of your models. You know, some of them, we have very good relationship. We're going to do a reunion one of these days. It will be fun. And they are all calling, when are we going to do this? I say, don't worry, we'll get a reunion done. Because we need to revisit the fashion industry, see how things are going. They're doing well. The new ones are doing well. And I just pray that the environment will not discourage them, you know. It's not just Nigeria, it's the world. Whatever is happening in Nigeria is what the truth is. A crate of egg in Nigeria is still cheaper than a crate of egg in the US and in the UK, even with the exchange rate. So it's not just Nigeria, the world is experiencing some kind of. The way I see it is like the pangs of birth before the child finally comes. You know, that intense labor. And then when the child is born, everything is calm and beautiful, everybody's happy. I think we are just towards the end of the labor pain. It's going to get better, but we're going to pass through a lot of that before it gets better. And when it finally gets better, we'll all be smiling. But right now, the whole world, not just Nigeria, is crazy. If you look at international, listen to international news, it's actually crazier than here. I just pray. Yes, I live opposite. I won't even say it. On the street, one of the.
A very good afternoon to you and welcome to the World News. We are reaching you live from our studios at SOUQ News TV. I am Oyin Priye Krumale. Let's begin with today's top stories. Now, the federal government urged African leaders to strengthen trade ties with Arab nations amid shrinking development aid. Babajide Sanwo-Olu presents Lagos Green Line Railway project to global investors as the African Investment Forum in Rabat, Morocco. And Germany calls out United States President Donald Trump to reverse his decision to exclude South Africa from 2026 G20 summit. And President Donald Trump threatens to permanently pause migration from all third world countries following the fatal shooting of a National Guard member near the White House. And in the world of sports, England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland jointly submits bid to host the Women's World Cup in 2035. Welcome back. Now, with over $1 billion in trade deals being negotiated between Africa and Arab markets, the federal government has urged African countries to strengthen regional trade and investment amid shrinking development aid. Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, made the appeal on Thursday in Abuja during the 5th B2B Agri-Business Matchmaking event. Chief Wale Edun emphasized the need for African economies to reduce reliance on aid and foster self-sustaining growth by leveraging intra-continental trade and private capital, especially as global concessional financing and overseas assistance continues to wane. Now, the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, has urged state governments to allocate between 1% and 3% of their annual budgets to land administration and systematic land titling. He emphasized that credible land governance is Nigeria's strongest lever for unlocking economic value and building a $1 trillion economy. Dangiwa made the call during his keynote address at the opening of the 30th Conference of Directors of Lands held at the federal and state ministries, departments, and agencies. He highlighted the need for systematic land titling as a critical step toward improved land management and economic development. The minister stressed that dedicated budgetary support for land administration would enhance transparency, property rights, and investment opportunities, ultimately contributing to national growth and development. Now, the federal government's power sector reforms have attracted over $2 billion in fresh capital since President Bola Tinubu's administration took office, the Minister of Power, Chief Adebayo Adelabu, revealed. Speaking at the PrimewaterhouseCoopers 2025 Annual Power and Utilities Roundtable in Lagos, Adelabu said the inflow of investment signals growing confidence in the government's effort to improve infrastructure, efficiency, and the overall market structure. Chief Adelabu highlighted that addressing the long-standing metering crisis remains a key priority in the reforms agenda. He noted that only 6 million out of Nigeria's 13 million registered electricity consumers have been metered, underscoring the need to accelerate metering to improve revenue collection and service delivery. The minister stressed that continued reforms are essential to achieving a more reliable and sustainable power sector that support economic growth and development. Now, Nigeria's private sector continued its upward momentum in November 2025 as the Composite Purchasing Managers Index rose to 56.4 from 55.4 recorded in October. This increase points to a broad-based expansion in economic activity across various sectors, signaling sustained recovery in the Nigerian economy throughout the year. The Central Bank of Nigeria's latest PMI report highlights that November marked the 12th consecutive month of growth for the private sector. All key indicators, including new orders, production levels, and employment, showed improvement compared to earlier months in 2025. Analysts view that sustained growth as a positive sign of resilience amid global economic uncertainties and domestic challenges. The consistent expansion reinforces the confidence in Nigeria's business environment and suggests a continued upward trajectory for the country's economic recovery moving into 2026. The National Insurance Commission, NICOM, has reiterated that transparency and integrity remains non-negotiable in the ongoing minimum capital requirement verification exercise for insurance companies. The Commissioner for Insurance, Olusegun Ayo Omoshein, made the declaration during the key insurance summit focused on the Nigerian Insurance Industry Reform Act 2025, where he outlined the Commission's comprehensive reform agenda aimed at strengthening the sector. Omoshein highlighted NICOM's collaboration with leading global audit firms, including the Big Four, as central to ensuring an independent, credible, and thorough verification process for MCR compliance of all insurance operators. He stressed that these partnerships are crucial to maintaining investor confidence, protecting policyholders, and enhancing the overall transparency and soundness of Nigeria's insurance industry as it aligns with new regulatory framework. The MCR verification exercise marks a critical step toward improving the sector's resilience and fostering sustainable growth, according to reports. The Nigerian capital market will today shift from a 4-day settlement cycle to a 3-day cycle known as T+2 in a strategic move aimed at boosting liquidity, investor confidence, and market efficiency. The transition from the previous T+3 cycle brings the local market in line with global best practices, allowing investors, both domestic and foreign, faster access to funds and reducing counterparty risks associated with delayed settlements. Under the new system, all trades executed from today will settle 2 business days after the trade date, compared to the former 3-day time framework. Market analysts said the T+2 cycle will enhance Nigeria's attractiveness to international investors, improve cash flow for traders, and increase overall market activity. The Nigerian Exchange Limited Group and other market infrastructure institutions coordinated the migration, ensuring that capital market participants were adequately prepared for the seamless implementation of the shorter settlement window. Now moving on, the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has presented Project Green, the Lagos Green Line Railway, to global investors at the African Investment Forum in Rabat, Morocco, joined by officials from the Federal Government Ministry of Finance Incorporated and the Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, LAMATA. The session showcased Lagos' ongoing efforts to modernize its transport infrastructure. Governor Sanwo-Olu described the 70-kilometer electric rail line as a strategic addition to the state's growing metro system, complementing the Blue and Red Line projects stretching from Marina to the Lekki Free Trade Zone. The Green Line is designed to decongest roads, boost connectivity, and unlock new economic zones along the Lekki-Ekpe corridor. The project aligns with LAMATA's strategic transport master plan and reflects Lagos' long-term vision for a sustainable multimodal transport network. Now, still to come in the news, Kenya and China are set to commence construction of a $1.5 billion highway expansion infrastructure in East Africa. I'll bring you details of that story in a moment. Do join us again.
Trafalgar Square, established in 1844, is a symbol of British naval history and a popular cultural spot in London. Named after the 1805 Battle of Trafalgar, it has been the site of celebrations, protests, and cultural events, representing the changing identity of the city. It houses several landmarks, like the Nelson Column, St. Martin in the Fields Church, and the National Gallery. The Nelson's Column, a tribute to a naval hero, is the main feature of Trafalgar Square. Standing 52 meters tall, completed in 1843, it honors Admiral Horatio Nelson's victory at Trafalgar. The column is topped with a statue of Nelson, and 4 bronze panels at its base show scenes from his battles. Surrounding it are 4 large bronze lions added in 1867, symbolizing British power.
Iconic part of British culture, not just in its look, but this is very much the sort of centre of London. You know, whenever there's a celebration, a protest, it's a public space that's very important for a lot of not just people that live in London, but for the UK. You know, it's a place where people would congregate. You know, I remember being here all around the 2012 Olympics. It was very much one of the centerpieces of British culture. Yeah, no, you used to be able to climb on the lions when I was younger, but you can't do anymore. So there you go. That's progress for you.
St. Martin's in the Fields Church, reputed as an architectural gem, was built between 1722 and 1726. It is known for its neoclassical design by architect James Gibbs and is famous for its portico and steeple and has influenced architecture worldwide. The church also a rich musical history, hosting concerts and helping the homeless.
Yeah, I actually came to London just on a little day trip, and then I remembered that this church sometimes has classical music on, so I just popped in, and there's no concert, but there were some people practicing. So there's a quartet of violins, and they made some lovely, sort of practice for some classical concerts. So I really enjoyed just sitting there for 10 minutes, listening to it. It's lovely, it's a really nice church, and it's nice that people don't use it much time. So maybe we should have a nice coffee as well.
The National Gallery, founded in 1824, is a treasure trove of art. Located on the north side of Trafalgar Square, it houses over 2,300 artworks from the 13th to 20th century, with free public access to masterpieces from major European artists.
I'm not really sure. I haven't been through the museum yet, but I'm here for a Christian heritage tour to kind of learn more about the history of the Protestant Reformation in England and Christian history here in England through the paintings that are in the gallery. So that's what I'm here for today.
Trafalgar Square blends Britain's naval history with modern art and culture. It remains an important public space, attracting millions of visitors each year to experience London's rich heritage and vibrant atmosphere. Chike Okolo, reporting for SOUQ News.
Welcome back. Many thanks for joining us on the news. Now, Germany has announced on Thursday that it would work to convince United States President Donald Trump to reverse his decision to exclude South Africa from the 2026 G20 summit set to be hosted in Florida. The move follows Trump's controversial claims, widely debunked by international observers, that South Africa's black-led government is persecuting the country's white minority. Since beginning his second term in January, Trump has made multiple statements accusing President Cyril Ramaphosa's administration of overseeing a campaign of violence against white farmers. In May, Trump confronted Ramaphosa during a meeting at the White House, citing fringe reports that alleged a white genocide, claims that have also been echoed by tech billionaire Elon Musk, a South African-born United States citizen and outspoken Trump supporter. Germany's foreign ministry called the exclusion deeply troubling and said it would use diplomatic channels to ensure South Africa remains part of the G20, citing the importance of inclusive global cooperation. Now, Kenya and the Chinese state-owned firms are set to commence construction of a $1.5 billion highway expansion on Friday, signaling China's return to large-scale infrastructure development in the East African country after several years of reduced activity. The highway project, which will be executed in 2 phases, reflects a shift in financing strategy rather than relying solely on traditional concessional loans, which have raised debt sustainability concerns across Africa. The venture will be funded through a hybrid model combining debt and equity contributions from both Kenyan and Chinese partners. Analysts said the move represents a more cautious and flexible approach by Beijing, aiming to mitigate criticism over rising debt burdens while still supporting strategic infrastructure projects across the continent. The highway is expected to ease traffic congestion, improve trade corridors, and spur economic growth, reaffirming Kenya's importance in China's broader belt and road infrastructure ambition in the continent of Africa. Now, the African Development Bank and the European Investment Bank have signed a €275 million financing agreement to modernize Mauritania's main railway corridor, a vital artery for the country's mining sector. According to a joint statement on Friday, the AFDB will provide €150 million, while the EIB will contribute €125 million toward upgrading the railway line that connects the iron ore mines in Zourate, northeastern Mauritania, the Atlantic export port of Nouadhibou. The project aims to boost the efficiency and safety of one of Africa's longest and most strategic rail lines, which plays a central role in Mauritania's economy by transporting millions of tons of iron ore annually. Officials from both institutions said the investment will improve trade logistics, support regional integration, and enhance sustainability in the transport sector. The project also aligns with broader development goals focused on infrastructure, economic resilience, and climate-smart transport. Now, Bahrain has slashed the minimum investment requirement for its golden residency visa by 35% in a bid to attract more foreign investors and skilled professionals seeking long-term residency in the Gulf state. The country's Nationality, Passport and Residence Affairs Agency announced that the new threshold for property investment is now 130,000 Bahrainian dinars, down from the previous requirement of 200,000 dinars, an equivalent of $530,000. The revision is expected to broaden eligibility for current property owners and boost activity in Bahrain's real estate market, a key component of the kingdom's economic diversification agenda. Officials said the move aligns with Bahrain's broader strategy to become a regional hub for investment and talent. Analysts see the updated policy as a response to growing regional competition for foreign capital, with several Gulf countries adjusting residency and investment incentives to attract high net worth individuals and professionals. Now, Indonesia is pushing back against the United States' effort to include a poison pill clauses in a proposed reciprocal tariff trade agreement, according to a Financial Times report citing sources close to the negotiations. These clauses aim to deter U.S. partners from expanding economic ties with China as part of Washington's broader strategy to curb Beijing's growing influence in Southeast Asia. Though Reuters has yet to independently confirm the report, the development underscores intensifying U.S.-China rivalry in regions where both powers vie for strategic and economic leverage. For Indonesia, maintaining balanced relations is key. The country is Southeast Asia's largest economy and relies heavily on foreign investment and trade. It has significantly partnered with both U.S. and China and is wary of aligning too closely with one at the expense of the other. Analyst says Jakarta's stance reflects its broader non-aligned policy and desire for economic flexibility. Now, still in Asia, South Korea's ruling Democratic Party and the opposition People's Power Party have agreed to lower the maximum income tax rate on dividend payouts to 30%, down from the government's earlier proposal of 35%. Local media reported on Friday that the agreement reached after negotiations between lawmakers from both parties was confirmed by officials speaking to reporters. According to Yonhap news agency, other domestic outlets, the move is aimed at easing the tax burden on investors and encouraging greater participation in the country's capital market. It comes amid broader efforts to make South Korea's investment environment more attractive, especially as the government looks to boost economic activity and corporate investment. While the original plan to set the dividend tax cap at 35% drew criticism from business groups and opposition politicians, the revised 30% ceiling is seen as a compromise that balances revenue concerns with market competitiveness. Now, Japanese Prime Minister Tsunai Takaichi's government today approved a $117 billion supplementary budget for current fiscal year to finance a sweeping economic stimulus package. The 18.3 trillion yen spending plan, significantly higher than last year's 13.9 trillion yen, highlights Takaichi's bold fiscal strategy aimed at slowing growth and rising inflation concerns. Most of the funding will come from new debt issuance, alarm over Japan's already strained public finance. The country holds one of the highest debt to GDP ratios among developed nations. Takaichi's administration argues that the stimulus is necessary to support households and businesses grappling with price hikes and sustain Japan's post-pandemic recovery plan. Analysts remained divided, with some warning that continued reliance on debt-fueled stimulus could limit future fiscal flexibility. Others said that immediate support is critical to maintaining economic momentum and avoid stagnation as global demand softens. Now, still to come in the news, President Donald Trump plans to completely eliminate income tax within the next few years, citing increased government revenue from tariffs. We'll bring you details of that story and more after the break. Do join us again.
Plastic waste is a mounting crisis, but it also presents an opportunity for business and government to lead the vanguard for systemic change. While regulations, corporate initiatives, and citizens' engagement have made progress, much more is needed in how businesses shape consumer behavior, how governments enforce environmental policies beyond rhetoric, and how public perception is managed through strategic communication. For decades, Nigeria's reliance on single-use plastic sachets, bags, and food packaging has grown, driven by affordability and convenience. However, this has come with a cost. The country generates an estimated 2.5 million tons of plastic wastes annually, with only about 12% recycled. In urban centers like Lagos, Abuja, Ibadan, Port Harcourt, waste is a leading contributor to clogged drainage systems, flooding, and environmental degradation. In this special report, Bayo Olaoye examines the challenges facing efforts to tackle the menace of plastic wastes in the country. Despite past government efforts to curb indiscriminate plastic use, such as Lagos environmental sanitation laws under former Governor Babatunde Fashola, enforcement has been inconsistent. The challenge now is moving beyond periodic government crackdowns and isolated corporate initiatives to a coordinated long-term shift shift towards a responsible plastic use, recycling, and waste management. Leading Nigerian manufacturing companies are taking active steps to integrate recycling and responsible disposal into their operations. Key initiatives include investing in recycling hubs, with Coca-Cola of Nigeria, Nestle, and Guinness setting up plastic recovery and recycling hubs, creating an ecosystem where post-consumer waste is collected, processed, and refused. Retailers and distributors are being encouraged and in some cases incentivized to set up collection points where consumers can return used packaging for responsible disposal. There is also brand-driven consumer education. Organizations have introduced citizen advocacy campaigns to influence individual waste disposal behavior. This kind of messaging, when amplified by large brands, can have a ripple effect in shifting cultural habits. Beyond environmental responsibility, investing in circular economy models enhances long-term profitability, strengthens brand equity, and aligns with global environmental, social, and governance standards. To effectively shape consumer behavior and stakeholders' engagement, businesses must leverage communication strategies that go beyond compliance reports. Employees should be active participants in sustainability efforts. Companies can integrate sustainability training, incentivize waste reduction, and implement office-wide plastic reduction policies, engaging suppliers, investors, and partners in sustainability commitments such as reducing excessive packaging or co-investing in recycling solutions to create an ecosystem-wide impact. Mass communication campaigns, social influencers, partnerships, and media collaborations can help educate consumers on practical steps for responsible plastic use and disposal. While Nigeria has engaged in international climate and sustainability conversations, the government must go beyond policy declarations and foreign aid incentives. The priority should be local, long-term economic and health benefit. Rather than reactivate bans that are often poorly enforced, the government can provide tax incentives for businesses, investing in recycling infrastructure while enforcing stricter regulations on reduction and disposal, expanding waste management facilities, establishing more government-led recycling centers, and integrating waste picker into a formalized economy can improve efficiency and create jobs. The administration of Governor Babatunde Fashola demonstrated that when the government takes waste disposal seriously with clear penalties for violations, citizens pay attention. The government must invest and consistently engage public education on the economic and health impact of plastic waste. A cleaner environment leads to a lower public health costs, fewer disease outbreaks, and increased workers' productivity due to better air quality and more usable public spaces. The Nigerian plastic waste problem is not just an environmental issue. It is an economic and reputational challenge for businesses and a government issue for policymakers. By adopting strategic communications, businesses can shift consumer behavior, governments can enhance enforcement, and citizens can embrace a cleaner and more sustainable future.
Welcome back. Many thanks for joining us in the news. Now, the United States President Donald Trump on Thursday announced plans to permanently pause migration from all third world countries following the fatal shooting of a National Guard member near the White House. The incident, which investigators said was carried out by an Afghan national who entered the United States in 2021 under a resettlement program, has triggered renewed scrutiny of U.S. immigration policies. Trump's statement marks a significant escalation in his administration's stance on migration and reflects a broader shift toward more restrictive immigration measures ahead of 2026 elections. Critics argue that linking isolated violence incidents to entire migration programs risks promoting xenophobia and ignores the vetting processes already in place. Supporters, however, said the move is necessary to safeguard national security and prevent further tragedies. The announcement is expected to face legal and political challenges, especially from human rights groups and immigration advocates. Moving on, Britain has announced on Friday that negotiations to join the European Union's 150 billion euros dependence fund, known as SAFE, have collapsed, dealing a significant blow to efforts to strengthen post-Brexit ties with the bloc. Prime Minister Keir Starmer had previously described the reset in UK-EU relations as ushering in a new era with hopes to deepen defense and trade cooperation. The agreement had opened the door for Britain to join the fund aimed at boosting Europe's military capabilities. The breakdown in talks signals ongoing challenges in solidifying security partnerships between the UK and EU, despite shared strategic interest. Observers said the setback complicates Britain's ambition to remain closely aligned with European defense initiatives following its departures from the EU. Now, Germany's unemployment rate edged up by fewer than expected in November, with 1,000 more people out of work, bringing the total to 2.973 million people, according to the Labour Office. Despite the slight rise, the increase was significantly below economists' forecast of 5,000 additional unemployed, suggesting that some resilience in the job market. However, labor demand continued to weaken, highlighting a sluggish economic recovery and ongoing challenges in generating strong employment growth. The data underscores the persistent lack of momentum in Germany's labor market as the country navigates global economic uncertainties and domestic pressures. Now, United States President Donald Trump on Thursday suggested that his administration might completely eliminate income tax within the next few years, citing increased government revenue from tariffs. Speaking during a video call with U.S. military service members, Trump expressed optimism that tariff collection would generate substantial funds, enabling significant cuts to income tax. Trump said over the next couple of years, the U.S. should substantially be cutting and maybe cutting out completely, adding that the government income could be so large due to tariffs. While the proposal has sparked interest among tax cut advocates, experts warn that relying heavily on tariffs may have economic repercussions, including high costs for consumers and strained trade relations. The potential tax overhaul is expected to face intense debate in Congress, with fiscal policy and budget impacts at the forefront of discussions. Now to the world of football, where England, Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland have jointly submitted a bid to host a Women's World Cup in 2035, marking what the home nation described as the largest single sport event ever planned in the UK. The proposed tournament would be the first Women's World Cup held in the UK since 1966, highlighting a historic moment for women's football in the region. The bid includes plans to use 22 stadiums across 16 host cities, with 16 venues in England, 3 in Wales, 2 in Scotland, and 1 in Northern Ireland. If successful, the event is expected to boost sports development and showcase the UK's capacity to stage major international tournaments. Now, Nigeria's The Tigers stumbled in their quest for a 2027 FIBA Men's World Cup spot, losing 88-78 in overtime to host Tunisia on Thursday in the first game of the qualifiers opening phase. after a challenging journey that saw them arrive only hours before their sole training session. Head coach Mohamed Abdulrahman started with Jordan Ogundira, Captain Ike Nwamu, Stan Okoye, Talib Zanna, and Chris Obekba among his 12-man squad of domestic and overseas players. The Tigers started strong, taking an early 5-0 lead with Zanna hitting a three-pointer and Nwamu aiming 2 points. Tunisia rallied a lead 8-5 within 5 minutes, but in Nigeria closed the first quarter ahead with 15-12 before eventually falling in overtime. Now that's a wrap on the news, but before we go, yes, a quick recap of today's top stories. The federal government urged African leaders to strengthen trade ties with Arab nations amid shrinking development aid. Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos presents a Lagos Green Line Railway project to global investors at the African Investment Forum in Rabat, Morocco. And Germany has called on the United States President Donald Trump to reverse his decision to exclude South Africa from 2026 G20 summit. And President Donald Trump threatens to permanently pause migration from all third world countries following the fatal shooting of a National Guard member near the White House. And in the world of sports, England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland jointly submits bid to host the Women's World Cup in 2025. Many thanks for watching. Do well to follow us on all our social media platforms at SOUQ News TV. I'm Oyin Priye Krumale. Do have yourself a splendid weekend.
The Trump administration has once again thrust U.S. immigration policy into the global spotlight with the recent announcement of a new voluntary self-deportation program that offers a $1,000 stipend to undocumented immigrants who agree to leave the country on their own. This incentive-based strategy is a calculated shift from the traditional, more aggressive deportation measures and is already stirring debate among policymakers, immigration advocates, and the public alike. The program, introduced in early May 2025, is being implemented by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. It allows undocumented migrants to register for voluntary departure using the CBP-1 app, after which they will receive a government-funded flight and a $1,000 stipend upon confirmation of their exit. Homeland Security officials argue that this move is designed to save taxpayers significant amounts of money. According to data provided by the DHS, a forced deportation process costs the government an average of $17,121 per individual. In contrast, the stipend program is seen as a cost-effective alternative that also reduces the strain on overcrowded detention centers and court dockets. This new measure is a part of a broader, intensified effort by the Trump administration to curb illegal immigration and tighten control over the U.S. southern border. Since returning to power, President Trump has reinstated several policies from his first term, while introducing new ones aimed at deterring undocumented migrants. Deportation numbers have surged, with nearly 66,000 individuals removed from the U.S. within the first 100 days of his new term. Family detention centers, once heavily criticized for their impact on children, have been brought back into operation, while legal aid for unaccompanied minors have seen severe cuts. These developments come at a time when the United States is experiencing a historic high in its foreign-born population. As of 2023, nearly 47.8 million immigrants were residing in the U.S., with an estimated 11 million of them undocumented. Many of these individuals have lived in the country for over a decade, raising families and contributing to the economy. Immigrants, regardless of status, are a vital part of the U.S. labor force, contributing billions in taxes and significantly shaping industries such as agriculture, construction, and caregiving. Critics of the $1,000 self-deportation offer argue that the program may oversimplify the complex reasons behind undocumented migration.
Many of those targeted by the program have deep roots in the U.S., including U.S.-born children, community ties, and long-term employment. Human rights organizations warn that such policies, while less aggressive on the surface, may pressure vulnerable individuals into making life-altering decisions without legal representation or full knowledge of their rights. There are also concerns about the ethical implications of offering monetary incentives for departure, particularly in cases involving asylum seekers or those fleeing violence. From a strategic standpoint, the administration insists that this approach is a practical way to reduce the migrant population without resorting to mass raids or extended detentions. Supporters say it offers dignity and a choice to undocumented migrants while protecting national interests. However, immigration experts question the actual effectiveness of the program, noting that similar efforts in the past have yielded limited results. The offer of $1,000 may not be enough to motivate individuals who have risked everything to seek better lives in the United States. The debate around this policy underscores the broader tensions within American immigration discourse, balancing border control and national sovereignty among humanitarian obligations and economic realities. With the 2026 midterm elections approaching, immigration remains one of the most polarizing and politically charged issues on the national agenda. In the wider global context, policies like this could set a precedent as other countries monitor the U.S. approach, especially those in Europe and parts of Africa facing rising migration numbers. Questions around voluntary migration, incentives, and state-led deportation policies are likely to spark wider international debates. What remains clear is that the Trump administration's latest move is not just a domestic policy. It is a bold, controversial experiment in reshaping the global migration conversation. I am Moyosore Adibi for SOUQ News TV.
Nigeria, rich in traditional and cultural heritage, is intentional about promoting history and retaining cultural values. The country has succeeded in preserving its identities and that of the forefathers for ages through folklores, folktales, traditional ceremonies, community-based initiatives, cuisine, and most notably, museums and cultural centers. These institutions serve as invaluable repositories of history, ensuring that future generations remain connected to their roots and appreciate the diverse cultural tapestry of the nation. In Nigeria, there are over 38 museums comprising national, state, and privately owned institutions scattered across the country. Each of these museums plays a crucial role in safeguarding Nigeria's vast historical wealth, with collections that reflect the uniqueness of different ethnic groups, traditional practices, and historical transitions over time. In Lagos, the National Museum, located at the center of the city in Onikan, claims a notable collection of Nigerian art, including pieces of statuary, carvings, archaeological and ethnographical exhibits, among others. Of particular significance is the terracotta human head, known as Jema head, dated between 900 and 200 BC, which is part of the renowned Nok culture. The piece is named after Jema, the village where it was discovered. The museum is administered by the National Commission for Museums and Monuments and remain a key educational and historical attractions for visitors. Another prominent artifact housed within the museum is the famous Benin bronze head, an evidence to the artistic excellence of the Benin Kingdom.
The museum has a lot of functions, some of which are to educate, to entertain, research, interpretation, conservation and preservation of our cultural heritage. And then the museum was established, Lagos Museum particularly, was established in 1957. It was formerly referred to as Department of Antiquities. So, well, the journey so far has been interesting because, we are here, to showcase our cultural heritage, not just to the country, but to the world. And we've had, we have series of, events that we do, that involve the community. And because of that, we create that awareness that this is where you can come and, see and feel your cultural heritage, your traditions, your history. Because it is said that a people without a history is a people without identity. So the museum portrays this to the people. And over the years, that is what we've been doing. Through education, community participation, we have galleries, that we display some of our objects, our antiquities, that showcase our patrimony and all there is to know about our cultural inheritance. And so the museum, has been doing that over the years, and, we still keep doing more.
The Lagos National Museum was founded in July 1957 by English archaeologist Kenneth Murray, following the submission of architectural sketch in 1948 at a conference on museum policy in Nigeria. Kenneth Murray collected several traditional masks from Cross River State to display in the museum's early years, according to historical records. The primary purpose of structuring the museum was to preserve Nigeria's historical artifacts and cultural heritage. Fortunately, that vision has remained alive to this day. The museum serves as a significant tourist attraction for Lagos residents and international visitors alike, offering an immersive glimpse into the nation's past. Some of the remarkable artifacts currently on display at the museum include the bullet-ridden car in which former Nigerian head of state, General Murtala Muhammad, was assassinated, pictures of previous rulers and presidents of Nigeria from different eras, a diverse collection of cultural drums, stools, and ceremonial staffs from various ethnic groups, historical crowns and caps of revered traditional rulers symbolizing their power and authority, photographs of Queen Elizabeth II and her entourage during her visit to Nigeria, reflecting moments of colonial history.
It's so immense. Museum is a reminder of what the society is all about, because a number of us are missing the link. We don't even know the role, the significance of the society we find ourselves because of foreign influence. But when you come to museum, it will bring your mind back to the original habitat, the way of life of people, how things should be seen in the society, and how we should react to phenomenal changes in our environment. Basically, we'll be doing this work of educating the general public, not only Nigerians, over 20-something years here, and the impact has been so tremendous, to the point that what we do at the museum is in consonance with the curriculum of our institutions, from primary, nursery, primary, secondary, even tertiary, even people in their corporate organization. They deem me free to come to National Museum anytime they feel like we are missing the link, we have missed a lot of things concerning the way of life of our forefathers. Even here, apart from that, we do have what is called seminar. We organize seminar for expatriates, for individuals to come around on Wednesdays, to come and listen and learn on cultural-based subjects.
I think it was great. I mean, I particularly like the circle of life that are presented in here, right? From birth to reincarnation to external influences. I think it gave a good history of Nigeria. I learned a lot about that. There seems to be some real big connection between Nigeria and and Benin in terms of the history that I wasn't totally aware of. I was able to see the different artifacts and stuff that were presented. So it was quite interesting. They did, I think, a pretty good job doing a comprehensive tour or comprehensive history of Nigeria and its culture and its surrounding areas.
A visit to the Lagos National Museum offers an enriching experience, transporting visitors back in time and allowing them to connect with Nigeria's rich and diverse history. The museum provides an opportunity to explore stories of resilience, artistry, and governance that have shaped the nation. Whether you are a history enthusiast, a student, or simply a curious traveler, stepping into this museum promises a nostalgic journey through Nigeria's past, fostering a deeper appreciation for its cultural legacy. Nigeria continues to reflect the stories that shapes its people, steadfast in its commitment to promoting history and preserving its cultural values for generations to come. Grace Komalafe, SOUQ Perspective.
The Eyo Festival, also known as the Adamu Orisha, is a traditional Yoruba festival unique to Lagos Island in Lagos State, the center of excellence. It is one of the most iconic cultural events in Lagos and serves as both a spiritual ceremony and a public spectacle. Eyo dates back to the 19th century, though original traditions suggest its origin may be older. It began as a rite of passage for the transition of a diseased Oba or High Chief in Lagos. In today's special report, Bayo Olaoye traces the antecedent and the genesis of this renowned cultural event. The first recorded Eyo festival was held in 1854 to commemorate the passing of Oba Akintoye. Over time, it also became a celebration for the installation of a new Oba or to honor prominent Lagosians. The Eyo festival is rooted in Yoruba religion and spiritual practices, specifically those of the Orisha cult. It is particularly associated with the Adamu Orisha, a deity representing ancestors and spiritual guardians. The Eyo festival is essentially a masquerade festival. The masqueraders are called Eyo, and each represents a spirit of the ancestors. These Eyo figures are customized in flowing white robes with large hats and face coverings. They carry okpas, known as batons or staff, used to generally discipline those who break festival rules. The Eyo festival can also be described as a spiritual cleansing of the land and people and used to escort the soul of a deceased noble into the afterlife. It invokes blessings and peace for the community, purges the city of evil spirit and misfortunes. The festival is organized by 5 major Eyo groups or Igas, also known as palaces, each with its own color and significance. Eyo Adimu, black, is housed in Iga Adimu. Eyo Laba, which is recognized by its red color, has Iga Idungoron as its palace, while Eyo Oniko, renowned for its yellow color, stays at Iga Oniko. Iga Ologede, with its green color, will reside at Iga Ologede, and Eyo Agere, with its purple color, stays at Iga Agere. The main day of the festival is called Oye Day, which falls on Saturday. Prior to this, there are several rituals leading to the Akoko Day, where announcements are made and various traditional rites are performed. What are the rules, regulations, and etiquettes? During the festival, what are the do's and don'ts? During the festival, certain items and behaviors are prohibited, such as wearing of sandals and shoes, since everyone goes barefoot during this period. Also prohibited is the use of motorcycles and bicycles, while public smoking is not allowed, as well as the wearing of hats and caps. Violators are often corrected gently with the okpa by the Eyo. What about the modern evolution of Eyo Festival as a potential for tourism development? While originally a sacred rite, the Eyo Festival has become a major cultural attraction, prominently showcased during Nigeria's independence celebration in 1960 and in subsequent years, it has been used to honor dignitaries and promote the heritage of Lagos. It does not occur annually, but rather on special occasions, often at the discretion of the Lagos monarch or Bar of Lagos as the custodian of the tradition. The festival combines ritual, theatre, music, and community spectacle, and it is often considered a precursor to the modern Nigerian carnival. The Eyo Festival has inspired modern performances and literature in Nigeria and reflects the depth of Yoruba spirituality, the importance of ancestors, and the interplay between tradition and modernity. Olumide Shokoya reporting for SOUQ News TV.
Today, industry leaders, innovators, and policymakers gathered in Lagos for the African Credit Expo 2025, a major event pushing for stronger financial inclusion and credit access across the continent.
Thank you for joining us.
Held at the Landmark Event Center, the expo carried the theme Empowering Possibilities and brought together players in digital finance, lending, trade, and small business development. The opening session set the tone, with organizers emphasizing the expo is more than an event. It's a movement aimed at reshaping Africa's financial future.
You know that Lagos is the biggest economy in Nigeria. It is the biggest in terms of human population. Lagos is a gateway to Africa. Lagos is Nigeria and Africa's pride. We are proud to be Lagosians. Thank you. Thank you very much. On behalf of the Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu, and the people of this great state, I extend a warm welcome to all participants, sponsors, and organizers here present today. I acknowledge the Visionary Credit Registry, Nigeria's pioneering credit bureau.
To deepen the conversation around credit access and responsible lending, the special guest of honor and founder of Credit Registry engaged with journalists on the sidelines of the event. Taiwo Ayedu, who also pioneered the Nigeria Private Credit Bureau industry and chairman of the Credit Bureau Association of Nigeria, is known to have played a key role to introducing the BVN system to the Central Bank of Nigeria and other notable reform in the Nigerian financial industry.
Is to basically try to educate Nigerians and Africans eventually to have a level of financial literacy, to understand the responsible use of credit. Credit is a very, very empowering tool. Before even we know what is formal credit, we've been borrowing and lending for time immemorial anyway, right? So it's not a new thing. It's just that at scale, there's a need to have systems and infrastructure in place to make credit scale, to make sure that if you're living in Agege, you can take credit in, say, Victoria Island. If you're living in Kano, you can take credit in, say, Anambra State. So information systems that we have created allows that to be possible. Allows lenders to be able to trust Nigerians so that if they understand that you have a habit of taking loans and paying back, then they're willing to give you credit, okay? And also, we want to make sure that Nigerians don't abuse credit, okay? Because if you use credit irresponsibly, it can also be very damaging. So the goal of African Credit Expo is about financial literacy.
Dr. Sharif Ayedu, MD CEO of Credit Registry Comments, opened the door for a broad conversation on how technology, data, and transparency can reshape Africa's credit culture. She explained that sustainable credit growth depends on systems that help people to understand their financial behavior and make informed decisions. Her insights highlighted both the urgency and the opportunity within Africa's evolving credit landscape.
We're so happy to welcome definitely the fourth estate here to the Africa Credit Expo. This is our third edition of the Expo, and this Expo is honestly to really live our brand promise. Our brand promise at Credit Registry is to connect, trust, and empower. And this event allows for us to connect all the various stakeholders that we do business with, from the lenders, the regulators, the individual consumers, the entrepreneurs. We bring them all together on this platform so they can trust one another and then empower each other to be able to have strong financial transactions.
After the ceremony, participants dived into a full lineup of masterclasses, workshops, and seminars designed to demystify credit and provide practical knowledge on financial management, business growth, and trade opportunities. Panels also spotlighted the role of digital tools, fintech, innovation, and responsible lending in expanding economic participation. The expo floor was buzzing with activities as vendors displayed new financial tools, credit tracking platforms, and SME support products. Sponsors and partners including credit bureaus, digital lenders, insurance firms, and payment companies reaffirmed their commitment to supporting financial growth on the continent. The day wraps up with a networking and cocktail hour, a chance for entrepreneurs, investors, and innovators to form partnerships that could shape Africa's financial future. Oyimprie Joseph Krumale, SOUQ News Television. Eko Atlantic has become Nigeria's most sought-after city for its high-end infrastructure, prestige, and well-planned city layout, as reflected in an 8-lane boulevard, about 13 internal bridges, underground cables, and green footprints defined by over 30,000 trees. Additionally, having a building in the city has become a trend among the so-called big boys, as was the case with Old Ikoyi, Victoria Garden City, popularly called VGC, Osborne Foreshore, and now Banana Island. In this special report, Bayo Olaoye states that this talk of "I belong" and the prestige mentality has also spread to the big firms. Before now, Kingsway and Ozumba Mbadiwe used to say that Victoria Island were the go-to locations for high-rise office buildings. These locations are home to iconic developments such as Kingsway Towers, Heritage Palace, Fanfa Towers, the Wings and the Waves, among others, making them Nigeria's equivalent of Silicon Valley. The Eko Atlantic City was modeled after the skyscraper district of Manhattan Island in New York City. It has become the new destination for big-ticket corporate firms which are building or relocating their new headquarters to the 10-square-kilometer city, rising off the coast of the Atlantic Ocean in Lagos. The city is attracting investment interests in both residential and commercial real estate, the latest being MTN Nigeria, preparing to build a new headquarters. MTN is coming on the heels of First Bank, which recently turned the turf to build a 40-floor corporate head office, making the city's most iconic development so far. Prior to this courageous and ambitious entry into Eko City by MTN, First Bank, Dangote Group, and the Embassy of the United States of America have taken positions there, developing a new head office and a diplomatic facility respectively. Much earlier, A co-development company had occupied the city as the developer of the Azuri Towers, offering both residential and commercial facilities for high clients and corporate bodies. Arkaland Property Investment and Oak Homes are also in the city, developing A&A towers simultaneously. These are the residential developments that will be standing on the 22nd floor and the 33rd floors respectively. Other developments are the Pan-African Towers by Periwinkle Residences, Eco Pearl with Champagne Tower and Eco Pearl Black Tower, Amni Towers and Ani International Petroleum Development Company, and Louisville Towers by Total Energy Staff Cooperative and Multipurpose Society. Louisville will comprise 300 residential homes spread between 2 towers, a world-class sporting center and a club, retail outlets and other facilities. It is designed to employ modern technology to achieve smart living and high standards. Eco Atlantic is an exclusive luxury city with superior infrastructure that appeals to the kind of investors we have seen in the city so far.
Thank you so much. I think the bill is a good one for Nigeria. And I think that the bill will be a catalyst for business to thrive in Nigeria. So my position and my perspective to the bill would be that it will be a very positive one for Nigeria going forward. If eventually the bill scale through the legislative processes and it have actually eventually become a law. So that would be my position. Thank you. Yeah, the bill will help business in different areas. Let me mention, for instance, the payee is part of cost for a business. It's part of staff cost. And for especially small businesses, which are the major backbone of the economy, the bill is proposing a reduction, that is proposing tax exemption for some category of lower staff cadre, which in essence is a cost reduction for businesses. So by that, it will help the business to thrive. Also, many people will come, by virtue of that, employ more people, which will bring a robust activity for the economy. And at the same time, there's some category of people that their tax will also be reduced compared to what is currently in operation. So it is a positive atmosphere for business. And when you look at it from the perspective of VAT too, you also see that there's going to be zero tax on some product. There's also going to be a tax exempt on some products, especially for masses, people, low income earner. So some certain products, there's going to be exemption. There's some certain product that's going to be zero tax related. So by that, it will bring a more robust business activity. So by it, and then it will have positive effect on business and economy in general. Yeah, the argument is important. It's very, very important. But when you look at it, fix the small business, it will encourage more small business. And also, even the 50 million turnover is not a small thing for business, though it is still small relatively to the economic activity. But it is a plus right? And again, for business that their activity are more than 50 million, then it's good that they should pay tax and contribute little as company income tax to back to the economy. Now, if their taxes are used judiciously, they need to bring more infrastructure to the economy. Then there will be development in the country. Then we'll also be able to look at the advanced country. We envy them, we look at them that they are infrastructures in places, then these things are not cheap. They are not cheap. So, but the main focus for now is that is in a positive trend. It's a positive trend. I encourage that the bill should be passed and the implementation then should be followed so that it will bring a positive effect to the economic generally and the business will thrive going forward. Well, I don't see disadvantage, but I see challenge. Okay. Yeah, one of the things is that naturally, human beings were adverse to change. So if something is bringing a change, especially when you want to take us out of a comfort zone, we may not want to willingly agree with it. But for me, I think the positive and the benefits outweigh whatever probably challenge or the disadvantage we may envisage. So I still strongly believe that the bill is in the right direction for us. Okay, I think from the angle of the value-added tax, what I would like to say in that area is that it will help the lower income earners because, like I mentioned earlier, that there's some products that's going to be zero rated, which means that there is not going to be tax VAT on them. There are some that are totally tax VAT exempted, so which means that, and these products, they are products that commonly is everybody really, but more of a masses low income earner will not with the VAT that will have been paid on it will have been an impact on them, then it's taking off. So I think from that perspective is also a good and a welcome one. And it compared to what was proposed before, a general increase in the VAT rates across board. So this one is narrow it down to a particular area. So wherein it also exempt or puts zero rated on some product that are commonly used by the masses. So it's a positive direction. It's a good one. Yeah, okay. One, from the tax perspective, one of the very good things about this bill is that it allows that you claim input fats. VAT is what you sell, what you buy. So the net effect of it is what you remit. Then this bill also helps to claim some expenses which currently is not in operation. So it's a positive one. Then again, you mentioned the increase in the VAT going forward. Well, let's appreciate that the increase is going to be gradual. That's one. Then two, let's also remember that the VAT, some of these products, they are not going to be with VAT again. That with common people like me and you, transport, there's not going to be VAT on it. Rent, no VAT on it. Food item, no VAT on it any longer. And many more. Health, no VAT on it any longer. So you can see that the VAT is going to be increased gradually, but it's not across board. So those basic that we know is every day is already been taken care of. So I think it should give it to the people that work on this bill. Okay, thank you so much for that angle and the question. I want to say that Federal Inland Revenue Services, they are really trying. And I can tell you, there's no system that doesn't have its own challenge. But FRS, they are trying. And they are moving from those days of Alanok. Now we have tax promise. You can do your filing right from the comfort of your office. You don't need to visit their office, except there is a challenge. Right? So, they are doing well, but they are not yet at the best. So, and there is room for improvement. They are already deploying technology. So, what they need to do is to scale up and up to the task. But currently, they are doing well. So, they just need to improve. Well, it depends on the perspective you look at it. Is it shrinking? Yes, we have some companies that are no more within the soul of the Nigerian. So in that case, their taxes is no more coming to us. But again, look at other businesses that are springing forth. So definitely those are coming to the tax net. And then again, there are some companies that are not, businesses that are not in tax net. So through the use of technologies by FRS, they're already bringing them to tax net. So the tax net is increasing. So the net effect of it, you can say, is increasing. Though we have some that are leaving the soul of Nigeria. So net effect of it, the tax net is increasing. Because we have people businesses that are coming to Nigeria, and we have people that are businesses that are already in Nigeria, but they are not in tax net, but they are already bringing them to tax net. So it's like they are looking at perspective of increasing the threshold from 25 million to 50 million, as the case may be. Yeah. So are they saying that the government should also still be taxing 25 million? Threshold? So we should applaud the bill that give opportunity for businesses that their threshold is less than 50 million, as the case may be. So, but from that angle, if you are looking at it that the business is shrinking, I don't see from that angle. I see from the angle of if the business is doing well and you are not to pay tax, rent, then your business is becoming robust, then you exceed the 50 million threshold. Then you also come back to the tax to be paid. So it's a way of giving boost to the business. And by the time the business is doing well beyond that threshold, then they'll be able to give back to the society. So it's a win-win situation. It's like giving a kind of relief to a business for them to thrive. And when they become better, doing well, then it's an encouragement to business, which they will also come to the net after that. So it's a good one. The chairman of the SOUQ. Yes.
How would you assess his performance so far?
Yeah, I think Mr. Sakios is a reformer. Yes. Looking at the step he has taken after assuming the office, and I also see that he's somebody that is listening. He has a close relationship with the former chairman of FRS. Probably he has learned some of things from him, challenges that he faced when he was there. So I think is helping the current chairman. And if you look at the revenue they are getting, they are meeting up with the target. And at the same time, if you look at the staff, I don't see much of issues, challenges within them. So those are the indices that you can look at from the performance of a leader. Look at the staff that is leading, look at the target, the businesses also, are they fairly? So I think he's doing well, but he can do better.
Afrobeats is a classic overnight success story, except it didn't happen overnight.
I'm happy to be here. One of the key things about the Omniverse is that it's designed to go beyond an event and designed to be fully something that people can engage beyond the summit. The point being that Nigeria has so much to bring to the world in terms of these things, but we will be bringing fresh energy, fresh ideas, a fresh engagement, and we're obviously open to collaboration. But hip-hop, it never dies. What's the difference between Thor and Shango? Thor is approaching $50 billion in revenue. Shango's broke somewhere outside Lagos. And that's a lack of imagination on our part, Africa, and they're all Nigerian. So to be seen and to be noticed is very hard if you're not in the place where all the noise is being made.
We've got just what you need right here at Femi Wash Media. Call it the Midas Touch, and you wouldn't be wrong. Let us record, produce, mix, and master your audio like nobody does. Reach us on our contact today for the best quality job.
From Dubai to Lagos, Nigeria, and across the globe, SOUQ News TV is your #1 station focusing on business, economy, and development. With global digital reach, we connect Africa's pulse to the world stage. Welcome to SOUQ News Television, and here we go beyond the headlines. From breaking news, in-depth conversational programs, to market analysis and indices. From policies affecting growth to unique documentaries, from live event coverage to bespoke productions, we deliver content that connects you to the world. At SOUQ News Television, we provide news surrounding business, economy, and development, infomercials and jingles that stand out, short and long-form documentaries crafted to international standards, independent production spaces with full technical support, special coverage for individual and corporate events, a special form of documentaries through our prestige package, Immortals, where we tell your story the way you'd love it, and business support services tailored for small enterprises. SOUQ News TV, powered by Femi Wash Limited, also home to the Isle 95.9 FM Lagos and Kasua 99.7 FM Kano, and Emirate News Television Abuja, together forming Africa's trusted media powerhouse. Storytelling, coverage, and connection that matters. SOUQ News TV, your home for